Hello everyone, I'm Shah Nath. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today in this podcast, I have invited one of my friend who is Junaid Rahim. So in this podcast, he shared his views on college as well as how he got an internship at Atlan. So if you want to know more about this, you can really stay tuned in this video and watch the full podcast to know more about it. Thank you. Let's get into the podcast. Hello everyone. Today with us we have Junaid Rahim. He is one of my friend in my college, and he will be sharing his journey of his college time with us. And so Junaid, let's hear your introduction from you. So over to you.
Hi, Sayan. Thanks for having me here. First of all, hi, I'm Junaid. I'm in the same year as Sayan. We met in first year. I currently work as an intern at Atlan. It's a data tool startup. I guess we'll get into that later. But yeah, just like Sayan, I've been involved in a lot of open source work at KIIT. I worked with him at DSC KIIT as the web lead. So yeah, just a plain old college friendship, I guess. Yeah, just trying to work together, build cool things.
Yeah, cool, man. So let's jump into the first question, and I would like to ask you that what are the skills you had before joining college?
Yeah, okay. I started I had an early start, to be honest. I started programming when I was around in 8th, 9th standard, I guess. I just had a group of friends who were interested in this, and we started to learn Python. So when I came to college, I already knew a good amount of Python. And in my 12th, I had taken computer science. So I knew C, C++, and a little bit of web development, just some basic, how to write an API, how to connect to a database. And I knew Angular. So not the very advanced stuff, but just had that one experience with a web framework, that how do you use TypeScript and stuff to build your website, just a little bit beyond plain HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So yeah, that was it, I guess. I had I knew Git and GitHub, how to build a project and all that stuff, how to some basic idea around how to collaborate. But yeah, nothing more than that, just some all that things that just learned out of curiosity, out of just wanting to do stuff with friends, I guess. Yeah, that's what I knew. But after that, everything was in college, because that's when you get the freedom, right? In 11th, 12th, when you want to learn something, you always feel bad ki, I have to study for my 12th and all that. But in college, you get that freedom. No, I can this is what I have to do now. So yeah, that's it, I guess, for what I knew when I came to college.
Yeah, just like you just explored and followed your passion while you were in 12th, you just did find many other things. Cool, man. So as we all know that we have been studying with JEE and all of the stuff, and we are hoping to join a great college like IITs or NITs, but we went into KIIT. So what were your mindset while joining KIIT, and what do you think, and what are the strategy or something which were in your mind?
So I'll be honest, I took a drop year before joining KIIT, because things got I screwed up and in my 12th, and just managed to get my boards done, but I could not get. So I was pretty with the background I had, I was pretty adamant that I wanted to study computer science. So but in my 12th, when I gave my entrance exams, I was not able to get a good enough college where I could actually get that branch. So I took a drop, tried to focus that year, and got into. So KIIT, I think, was my third or fourth choice, I don't remember, but so joining KIIT, in first year, the mindset as such was just to learn, basically. I knew what I had to learn and what was the gap in my knowledge that I wanted to complete, and I had a basic idea of, okay, this is what a software engineer should know, this is what good engineers know, so what can I do to complete that. So mindset wise, I think you'll able to relate to this as well, just to learn new stuff, right? Explore college here, right? But we kind of know that they don't really help that much in terms of what you actually have to learn to do real world shit. So we just learn new things, stay curious, try to collaborate as much, because I knew this whole thing is going to be a team sport, and I wanted to go to hackathons, build projects, work with different kinds of people who are interested in the same things as I was. Basically that there was nothing as such to be I'll just grind this much and get a placement here or there. It was just like I wanted to have fun, to be honest. Like, yeah, I love doing this. That's why I'm taking this major, and that's why I'm like learning all this. And this is what I choose to get my degree into. Then let's just have fun, right? Like build something nice, work on various open source stuff. So that was a like most mindset. I was excited about programming clubs. I remember like when that just when you get admission and you start pinging seniors like, oh, do you have programming clubs? Do you have the clubs that organize hackathons and stuff? So
Yeah.
that was basically the mindset I had. And like even you will relate. After like 3 years of that whole JEE wala grind, you finally get to get out of your home and go to another city and just move into a hostel. And yeah, that was it basically.
That was pretty nice. And so, can you tell me that what are the things you did in first year so that like you can be a good software developer in general? So
Yeah. So I remember like the first few months was just trying to. So when I started first year, I was very interested in web because that's what I had some basic knowledge about, and I wanted to grow in that space, right? So I remember attending a few events by GSoC around Golang, around React. So I think the very first thing I started when I got my first, like we started first year, was to just start learning React, because I had done some Angular, as I said, but React was the whole rage. Like everyone was doing React. So I was like, yeah, okay, let's learn this. And that took a few weeks. Just again, YouTube tutorials. We had a session from San Bhaiya, if you remember, in first year that he did React. So that's what got me like hooked into it. So I then again did a lot of React, built a few like projects and stuff. Then I joined this NGO called Desire Foundation that was like founded in our college. I joined them and like just tried to look for problems I could solve with like my technical skill. So it was just because I think that was the first like kind of club type thing that had a recruitment. So I just like built out a sales portal they used to like sell like notebooks, right, to basically organize funds for whatever they do. So I wrote a little sales portal for them that they could use to manage the sales and all that. Again, just using React and Firebase. I think a few months in after that, like we joined GSoC, me, you, Priyanshi, Vishwaroop, like that whole gang of ours. We joined there, and from that GSoC, I got to meet a lot of like people who were interested in like tech and programming and all that. So then like we did a lot of hackathons. We did I think did like the first GSoC hackathon that GSoC organized. We did that, and then got to collaborate with a few people, and then did more hackathons, and just again that snowballed into a lot of projects and just random stuff. And like college kept happening, and this was just side stuff, doing projects and stuff. I did a little bit of ML research as well. Me and Vishwaroop got in touch with a professor who wanted to like who was looking for students basically who were like interested in this machine translation project. So we did that. Me, Vishwaroop and Priyanshi did a hackathon that like we won second prize in, and later realized that project could actually be translated into a paper. So we submitted that paper into one of the conferences that happened in our college itself. So yeah, that was my like little bit of involvement in ML, learned like PyTorch and all that stuff. I was interested in ML in first year, but yeah, that was it basically. Fancy trying to like learn stuff. Apart from that, I remember so in this whole time I like DSA and all that whole craze of just grinding lead code had been at the back of my mind, but I had done it in 12th and like in my drop year, but I did not really enjoy it that much, to be honest. So it was like on and off in first year, like just some evenings when you don't really have anything to do, just like open lead code, do a few questions. I was interested in DSA a lot because I had like learned a little bit of it for one of the exams I gave in 12th. It was like the zonal computing Olympiad. I did not manage to crack it or anything, but it was basically a DSA exam. It's a big DSA exam that just tests for computing aptitude in like young students. So that had me the first taste of what like DSA is and what kind of things you can do, and like that just mathematical rigor to computer science. So first year I started with that as well. Did not do it that much as I did in second year when like I started to get into system design and stuff. So yeah, that was it basically. You can see there is no pattern or such. It's just like exploring and trying to go with things that as they come up. So like if you have a hackathon coming up regarding a particular topic, or say it's a ML hackathon, right? So then you spend some time like getting deep into ML, trying to figure out what project we can do and stuff. So yeah, that was it, man. Like this kind of thing like snowballed into second year, I guess, and then Corona happened and we all came back home, and then just online Discord. That's been it, I guess.
Yeah. So you did many things in the first year, and I hope like it's actually very great to know your journey. Moving on, like what are the things which one thing you should say that which impacted your journey and made you a great software engineer?
I'm not a great software engineer yet, man. Like still in third year, yeah, like we're still learning and stuff, but if you talk about like one thing that helped me in my journey was just, I guess, raw curiosity about stuff. So I think like our colleges do a great job at just killing that curiosity. Just, you know, like this is the subject, this is the assignment, stuff like that. But I had this like idea of like the subjects that we are supposed to learn in college are actually very interesting, and colleges just do a bad job at teaching them. And I was just very curious about, okay, how does this work in the real world? How do people do this in the real world? So I think that thing like kept me going, you know, when like things get tough and you just can't get something to work, some project does not work out, and that curiosity kept me going, thinking about just, you know, real world amazing stuff people do in the real world and how we can just learn all that. So open source comes, like I'm a big Linux enthusiast, so I used to like do a lot of things in Linux, set up my own stuff. So that also came with the same curiosity that how does this work, and so that later helped me when I was doing a lot of backend projects, just, you know, setting up VMs and stuff. So again, open source and curiosity help, because so that's the good thing about open source, right? Like when you're curious about something, you can just look up, right? How does this work? How does that work?
Exactly.
And just communities are always there to like give you blog posts and stuff. So yeah, that's, I guess, what helped me. Again, the same thing, like curiosity, asking questions, having like a first principles thinking in terms of what advice is given to you. So when you enter college, a lot of seniors will tell you a lot of different things, that do this is what works, this does not work. But you actually start to like think about like what your interest is, right? You can't just have one generic advice for every student out there.
Exactly.
Just ask. So you know, just asking questions like, okay, he's saying this, does it like have any basis for it? Some people just are like, just do CP and grind lead code and just get a job, but that did not make sense for me. Now I want to do other things as well. So yeah, ask questions, I guess. Ask as many questions as you can. Try to not take everything on the face value. Just because someone is saying something does not mean it's really true. So yeah, that's what like helped me and kept me going.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. And I hope like everyone does so in their college lives. And so now let's come to the interesting part about your Atlan journey, as you are a backend engineer intern at Atlan. So can you give me that, can you tell me to the viewers, or like how you get to know the opportunity, how everything worked, how the selection procedure works, and what are the stuff you're doing in Atlan? So yeah.
Okay, that's a long story, but yeah, I'll try to summarize it. I have not talked about this on any other. I tried to write a blog post about it, but like just got tired and it was too much to consume. So I'll try to like wrap that story. Yeah. So I think so third semester, right? Like when second year starts, and so third semester, I had like basically two paths in front of me. I wanted to either do GSoC, like apply for GSoC and just get into that, or get an internship at a good startup basically. So I just like measured both of them in terms of what I can like get to learn. So both of them, if you think about it, give you like an equal learning opportunity. Working at a startup is difficult, I'll be honest. It's demanding.
Yes.
But same with GSoC, right? It's a big open source thing. So yeah. So I started like applying for various startups from mostly AngelList and LinkedIn. I just went up there, looked for good startups that had like a fair enough compensation and a interesting problem they were solving, and an interesting product. So again, I applied to a bunch of places, gave a few interviews. got rejected from some were said that they want to hire me, but like they did not have the budget. Lot of different reasons, right? You have been through this as well. Then I think Atlan was somewhere around June 2021, I think. Yeah. So what happened was again applied through AngelList. Gave the so what Atlan does their interviews and like the recruiting in a different way. What they do is basically once your resume is shortlisted, they send you this like challenge, like a take-home project, basically.
Take-home assignment, yeah.
Yes. So now the thing is, a lot of companies also do this, but they have like their DSA rounds after this as well. So Atlan does not do that. Atlan gives you a take-home assignment, and it's a pretty complex one. It's not that I'll talk about the assignments. It's a pretty complex one, and they give you a week to solve it, so you can understand the complexity of it. So I remember my take-home assignment being like a Google Doc of 3 pages, and just all that details on what I had to implement. And so that happens. Once you solve and send it to them, some engineer from the team reviews it. And I'll talk about the assignment. So once you do that, once someone say like your assignment is like your submission is liked by the person who's reviewing it, then you get a call for a technical interview. But this is not a technical interview in terms of like, oh, you solve this lead code question. It's basically discussing that solution and finding flaws in that, and just discussing technical caveats, what can be improved, what cannot be improved, and just a general like get to know the usually the person. And so my interview was basically the start, I guess 20-30 minutes was, it's an hour-long interview, and the first 20-30 minutes was just like telling each other stories around. So he, like the engineer, he's my team lead right now, and he just told me his life story and how he joined Atlan, what he does at Atlan, what Atlan is trying to solve in the industry. And after that, I got to tell my story, like just how we're talking now, that how I started, what interests me and stuff. And then we got to my solution, and luckily they liked my solution a lot. So again, after that, there's a cultural interview, just like most startups. I had my interview with the co-founder Varun. We just had like a hour-long chat around, basically like my career goals, what Atlan is trying to solve, and just why Atlan, why do you think you want to work for us? Just a regular cultural interview. And after that, I got the call, that one call you
final
get, call, we want to make you an offer, and just when can you start and all that. So this is going to get a little technical, but I'll talk about the challenge because I loved it as a person who loves systems and loves web. So my challenge was basically once you get that big doc and you start reading it, it was basically Atlan has a product called Collect, and it's basically like a glorified Google Forms, but like it has a lot of capabilities for offline data collection, right? So the first part of the problem statement was just explaining what Collect is and all that, and I had to design and build a system that would so like when you submit a Google form, right?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine you want to execute some extra logic once the form is submitted. So it could be something like you build a form and there is a field for a phone number, and once you submit the form, an SMS goes to a phone number saying that okay, your form got submitted.
Your form is submitted,
yeah, right. So this say this extra logic is supposed to be executed after a form is submitted. How do you design and build a system that this becomes plug and play? So like any form can have any set of integrations just connected to them. So that was my basic challenge. I solved it using so what was expected of me was I had to design a system, like a legit system diagram. I had to talk about the pros and cons of it, like what works, what does not work. I had to consider things around scale, around what happens if one of the databases crashes, all that. And I had to, in the end, implement this, write the actual code. Not something very full robust, but a POC, right? A proof of concept that, okay, this idea works. And I had to submit a doc, basically comparing all the approaches I went through to get to that solution, right? So it's 3 things, like the code, the system design proposal, the whole thing, and a pro-con doc, basically that, okay, I first tried this approach, this does not work, this approach does not work, and this does because these reasons. So that I had that, and I had a full week to do it. I had a lot of fun doing it because it's a complicated problem, right? It's not very simple thing, you just write an API, write a front end, and it just works. I had to actually think and draw stuff and just go through various approaches like WebSockets, this, that. So that was it. That was the challenge. So yeah, I took a full week. I submitted it on time. It took like around 2 to 3 days to actually get the whole thing working, of like deep work and just focusing on that one thing. So yeah, that was it. And this applies for all the roles you applied to at Atlan, right? They have this very principled approach that a candidate's worth is not what his resume says or like what college he went to or something like that. It's basically the work you produce. So it's like that whole part of you doing a good job at your assignment at that challenge is a big, it says a lot about how you work and what kind of work product you produce. So that's how they hire. So yeah, if you're applying, they will send you a challenge and it will be a good one. You will have a lot of fun in like solving it and like building it. So yeah, that's it, I guess. It's pretty standard approach, I guess. Like take home project, technical interview, cultural interview, and then just you if you like get through all that, you get the final offer. So I think I should talk a little bit about what Atlan does actually. So Atlan is what we called what we can call a modern data workspace, right? So whatever GitHub did for developers, like they give you this workspace to like build projects, build code, collaborate. We provide that for the data teams. So if you are a data team and you're working on, say you have like 10 different data sources and you want to have a central workspace that you can first of all look at all that data, like what data sources I have, what kind of tables, columns I have, what kind of size do those tables and columns have. That and top of that, we also provide a lot of features around glossary, business metadata, stuff like that. You can visit the website to learn more. So I work in the platform team at Atlan. I work on the team that is basically responsible. So like when you open Atlan, the first thing you see is like a list of all your assets. A list that is just basically metadata. Like we connect to a variety of your sources and just pull in metadata, basically like what tables do you have, what columns do you have, what size do those assets have, stuff like that. So I work on the team that is responsible for building those connectors and working mostly around Kubernetes. We use this orchestration engine called Argo, and mostly around that we have like an internal developer platform that we use to build these connectors. So working on that platform as well as building connectors. So like in terms of this might be a little bit confusing to people, but it's mostly Kubernetes. There's a very nice open source orchestrator for Kubernetes called Argo. We use that. In terms of languages, it's mostly Python, JavaScript, Kotlin, a mix of a lot of things. Because like Atlan is not just like, it's a polyglot company, right? Like we use the language that is best for the job. So I get to have like fun with a lot of languages, lot of tools. I get to work with like a variety of data sources, databases, even BI tools like Tableau, Power BI, stuff like that. So this is basically what I do at Atlan. It's been a fun journey till now. I will be joining full time there soon. So like the 6 months of my internship were pretty intense. It took like a lot of my effort to learn new things and grow as an engineer, because like they have a very high standard of quality. People are just amazing. One of the best engineers I've ever worked with, and just you have to grow, right? Like you join as an intern, you have like some dinky experience from college, but now you have to actually work on products that are actually going out to the customer, and you have to be very conscious of quality and what you put out. So yeah, so that's it, I guess.
Yeah, congratulations on the note that you are joining full time as an Atlan.
Thanks.
So So now, can you give advice, or not advice, like how can a fresher can start his full stack journey in his college days? So can you give a light on that?
So full stack is like, a lot of people aspire to do it. It's pretty wide, I'll be honest. Like you have to learn a lot of stuff, you have to do a lot of stuff. So usually what I'd recommend is, you can find a lot of these roadmaps online, like what you have to do in specifics. What I would recommend is like start somewhere, start building things, start actually doing things. You only So like one principle I always have is the only way you learn to write code is by actually writing it. You can't just watch tutorials or just read documentation. You have to actually do things. So start somewhere. Start somewhere small, I guess, so that you don't get demotivated, and get through the basics, like learn how to build a front end, learn how to write an app, learn about databases. And the good thing about full stack is once you start learning all these things, you'll automatically get to know what are the things that you don't know. So you'll automatically have that big list of things that you still have to learn to, like, grow yourself into a better engineer. So yeah, you can visit this site. You can link it in the description, I guess. Roadmap.sh. That has a lot of, you must know, like a lot of roadmaps. You're in first year or like just starting out, to have a look. You can find a lot of roadmaps there that will give you the specifics. But yeah, just start small and just slowly and steadily grow your depth of knowledge into all these things, because it's a very broad field. Just like any computer science field, it's broad and has a lot of details. So you'll find things that interest you. You'll find things that maybe are a little bit boring to you. So like in backend itself, there is like the system design. There is like, if you just consider databases, there is like a whole like slew of databases on how they work and how do you like optimize them and all that stuff. So just start small. The trade-offs and like query optimization, blah blah blah.
Exactly.
Yeah, just start somewhere, find your interest and just go deeper. That's how you will, like in a few years span, I guess, get to learn a lot of stuff and become like this more of full-rounded engineer rather than just one. But again, I think this applies for like ML and deep learning as well, right? Like you start somewhere and slowly and steadily you get into different subfields and that. So
yeah, that was pretty cool. So like, can you give a final advice to all the viewers who are watching us that they can also like do?
I mean, I don't have like any advice as such. Like I'm who am I, right? Like we are still in student, we are still in college, just still trying to figure it out. I just wanted to share my story. Maybe someone can have something they relate to and stuff. Advice wise, I don't have anything as such. I don't really believe in like that, that one generic advice that can fit any student. Everyone has a different journey. Everyone has different interests. I guess just, stay curious and try to, look for things that actually interest you rather than just, doing things because when things actually interest you, you have fun doing it, right? Like it's not a job for you. It's like, this is something you feel excited about things when you wake up and you want to get to work and stuff like that. Another like small piece of advice I would give is like start writing. Writing is a very big part of being a good engineer, I guess. Just once you start, like in the remote world, of course, like you have to write a bunch of things like messages, documentation, proposals, all that. So start writing. Have a good command over your writing. Know how to write clearly. There are again a ton of resources online will tell you how to write clearly. Our colleges don't really like teach us this stuff, but you just have to figure it out by doing. So learn how to write and I guess stay curious. That's all I have.
So it was a quite insightful talk and I got to learn many things from you, and thanks for joining us in the podcast in the evening time of Sunday. And I'll be also like giving all your social links in the description so that people can go and follow you and can get connected and can get some help from you. And so on that note, I would like to end this podcast. So if you really like this podcast, then consider subscribing to this channel and like the podcast. So let's meet in the next one. Bye bye.